Waffle Sports Talk. I'm Josh. That's Bryce. That's Roy over there. 66. Yep, 66. Super Bowl happened. We're gonna jump right into Super Bowl. Eagles. I don't remember the final score. Eagles absolutely blow out the Kansas City Chiefs. It really was not a game.
40 to 22.
Yeah, there you go. 40-22, and the 22 was crap time second half. Let's be real. They did not really get one up. Maybe other than the bomb, odd count. But after that, crap time. The one thing that I said, I did think the Chiefs were going to win, and I was shocked that they, to be fair, they got out coached in every department. But I did say the one time the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl against the Bucs was the pass rush, and that's exactly why. Flat out, that's why they lost the Super Bowl. They could not protect Mahomes to get the ball off. I wasn't even crazy impressed with Philly's offense. They were good. Don't get me wrong. They were good and they played well. But I was not blown away by them. The Chiefs contained Saquon pretty well, honestly. I don't know if he broke one more than about 10-ish, I thought they did. Obviously, you could tell that was their emphasis. But, yeah, blown away by how bad the Chiefs' offense looked. Even when they got stifled in the first, I thought, okay, adjustments maybe. They got – in every way, they got outperformed. And, the Eagles deserved to win that Super Bowl. It wasn't even close. So that's all I got. It was such a blowout. It's hard to deep dive into stuff because in every way, the Eagles outperformed them. So
yeah, what I thought would happen actually happened. I said I thought both teams were going to stop the run game pretty well. I didn't think they were going to stop Saquon as much as they did because they did a great job.
I would say they did really good
all year. Yeah. I did think they would slow him down though with Chris Jones up front. They have a good defensive line. I also thought that Kansas City ran the ball well against the Bills, and I thought the Eagles would be able to shut that down as well. So I said on the podcast, whoever wins the wide receiver DB battle will win this game. And, Patrick Mahomes just didn't have time to get it to his wide receivers. You can't tell if they were winning or not. But the Eagles were open every third down they needed it. And the few times they went for it on fourth down, they were open every single time. They took their best corner with an A.J. Brown matchup and just bullied him. Every single way, I thought the Eagles did whatever they wanted the whole game. Shout out to the Eagles. They deserve to win this. Cooper DeJean with the pick six, breaking the color barrier. That's what we like to see. Shout out to our boy. That's all I got for it, though.
See, I have a different take. I thought both defenses came to play. And if you look at Eagles' offense, it didn't do shit except for that long pass touchdown. Everything else was short field because of turnovers by Kansas City, and then yardage-wise, they didn't do great. So that offense, other than Jalen Hurt doing some long runs, offensively, they didn't do anything, Eagles. It was their defense that put them in great positions, put a ton of pressure on Patrick Mahomes, and that was the key. That defense came to play. That secondary, which had not been average all year, I don't know what they did over the next 2 weeks. The pass rush was really good. I had Brandon Graham back who got it, Hurt still put a lot of pressure on Patrick Mahomes, but that defense gave the secondary chances to make plays, and I thought they did a great job. Offensively for both teams, I thought neither one of them were any good. The Super Bowl was very fucking boring, and fuck the halftime show. God,
that was pretty bad. Josh might have a different opinion.
I thought it was horrible.
I just don't. When he had to bring in Serena Williams to freaking be a dancer. That is turning into a joke. Just don't even do anything. Just have somebody stand there and saying, "Who gives a shit?"
It should be Morgan Wallen next year.
It won't be a country artist because they got to bring somebody in that black people will listen to. So
you do know that Jay-Z picks the Super Bowl halftime show right now, right? He's got a contract.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's got a deal with the NFL ever since the Colin Kaepernick situation that he because people are pissed and Lil Wayne didn't get it. Everyone thought Lil Wayne would get it. He's from New Orleans and he wanted to do it. Everyone thought he'd get it, and Jay-Z chose Kendrick Lamar. So Jay-Z, right? I don't know how long the deal is, but he's got a contract that as long as the NFL approves it, he gets to choose the artist.
That sucks.
I don't know. This last few Super Bowls have been very uneventful, very not entertaining, and maybe because I just don't give a shit about NFL. But it's just
before this year, the last three have been 3-point games, the last 3.
But they haven't been very. I mean, they're just not entertaining games. Like it's not been like. I just feel like they're not entertaining games. And then this one had the highest viewership in ever. So I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, Eagle fans living in the past saying they're Super Bowl champs. That was last year. I mean, I'm so tired of them talking about it.
They did win in 2025.
This is a new football season. We're in the off season, looking forward.
But they're the 2025 Super Bowl champions, so it's still
2024 season.
Yeah, you're wearing Eagle green.
I am. I'm wearing Kelly green.
Yeah, you're Kelly Green. You're a huge Eagles fan.
Yep. But yeah, I really was just shocked how outperformed they did versus Kansas City. But yeah, moving on to the off season, and let's roll right into baseball. This week we got the NL Central. We know a little bit more about the NL Central. We got the Cubs. The Cardinals are local for me and Bryce / Roy. I know he's not local, but he knows about the Cardinals. So I'd say this is a division we know a little bit more than the NL West, the AL West, teams that we don't get to see very often, especially out west. So let's jump right into it. 5th place. I'll go first on this one. Bryce, you can see the script again as well, all right?
Yep.
Okay. We'll alternate again. I'll go first. 5th place, the Pittsburgh Pirates last year. They finished with a record of 76-86, and I was shocked. They won 76 games. I do not remember them being – don't get me wrong, that's not good, but that's like above average for a mediocre baseball team, which in my opinion they are.
I mean, they won every matchup against the NL Central. The NL Central couldn't take over the other NL Central teams.
That's true. So let's go over their lineup for the upcoming year. Key additions. I got none. Now, don't get me wrong, they added a few players like who'd they add? Spencer
Andrew McCutcheon.
Yeah. Adam Frazier, but like no impact players that are changing the lineup. But on the flip side, they don't have any key losses either. They really don't lose anybody. Maybe Aroldis Chapman, but let's be real. I mean, at this point of his career, he's not the same player. So none. I don't have any. So let's go over the lineup. Leading off, playing short, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. I should probably just stop right there and move on. But let's finish it. Left field, Brian Reynolds. Center fielder now, not infielder. O'Neal Cruz. Just kidding. O'Neal Cruz. DH, Andrew McCutcheon is back for his 38-year-old season. Catcher, Joey Bart. First base, guy they picked up in a trade from Toronto, Spencer Horwitz. Second base, Nick Gonzalez. Third base, Ke'Bryan Hayes. And right fielder, Joshua Palacios. Bench, Jason DeLay, we're moving on. This is where the bright spot hits for the Pirates. As their ace of their staff, they do have Paul Skeens. Second, Mitch Keller. Third, Jared Jones. Fourth, Bailey Falter. And fifth, Johan Oviedo. With David Bednar, Dennis Santana, former Yankee, Roy. Colin Holderman, Cameron something, Caleb Ferguson, another former Yankee. Tim Meza, another former Yankee. Kyle Nicholas, and Joey Wentz. That's their bullpen. Anybody want to go first?
I mean, I'll go. I don't mind. I think this team, I mean, it's young. Other than Brian Reynolds, 30-year-old. Their pitching staff is young, but good. And that's where, if they can just being a young pitching staff, not much experience. I mean, Paul Skeens has, half a year and got Rookie of the Year. But
did he win Rookie of the Year? Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
So he gets a full year. So technically, he's a full year in.
Yeah, so he'll get. So this team is going to see some struggles just because he's just so young. But I think it's a very talented, good team. I think they got a lot of talent to work with, and they just kept building and building, and hopefully, I mean, one of these years has got to pay off, and this year might be a good year for them to pay off.
Yeah, Bryce, you want to go?
Yeah, I don't have a ton to say about the Pirates. I see them a lot as a Cubs fan, and I really don't hate them as much as some other people in this division will do, because I like their stadium. I like some of their players, like O'Neal Cruz and Ke'Bryan Hayes, and obviously Paul Skeens, but I just don't think that they have enough talent for people who are consistent on this team. They have people who go on great stretches. We saw O'Neal Cruz be the best player in baseball for a month last year. Joey Bart has a couple of good games every once in a while. Ke'Bryan Hayes has a couple of good games every once in a while. I just don't think they're a consistent enough team to be competitive yet, especially with not adding anybody like notable.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in the Pirates. You look at that young pitching staff, and I mean that's everything. Everyone is going to point at that young pitching staff. I mean, let's be real. If Paul Skeens is on the mound, I'm going to be honest. I think he's a top 3 pitcher already in the game. I mean, he is that good and unhittable. Whatever you want to put him in a ranking. But he started the All-Star game 2 months into his career. I mean, nobody does that. But man, you have that young pitching staff, and I mean, you don't get anybody to help on offense. None. Spencer Horwitz. I mean, are you kidding me? These free agent classes, I'm not saying they got to go get a Juan Soto, but man, some of those middle tier guys that are $15 million a season, you can't plug a few of those guys in there, maybe in the infield. Like what happened? Like Gleyber Torres. That's a 1-year deal they could have added for nothing and good risk, you know. And if he's nothing, then guess what? He might be as good as Nick Gonzalez is. I don't know. I'm disappointed the Pirates didn't make any moves with this pitching staff they have because they ain't paying him shit. I mean, what's Paul Skeens' number 1 pick? He probably makes what? $1 million? I mean, they're not paying anybody.
Yeah, they're not paying any of anything.
I mean, if you got Paul Skeens, Jared Jones, and that, and they don't have the worst bullpen in the world, and you're leading off Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, you're just not a serious organization. I feel bad for some of those young guys and people wonder why, you know, people like Paul Skeens will play 6 years in Pittsburgh and then go to a team that is paying them and wants them because Pittsburgh won't. Pittsburgh will not pay him. So disappointed, but I don't think they're going to be very good outside of that pitching staff.
I think they will be. I think they've got some young talent that will do well.
I just think the offense is underwhelming in my opinion. 4th, I'll let Bryce take this one.
4th was the Reds. Their key additions are outfielder Austin Hayes, relief pitcher Scott Barlow, pitcher Taylor Rogers, splitting up the Twins. Second base Gavin Lux from the Dodgers, and then and Brady Singer and Jose Trevino. They also lose Jonathan India to KC. Their starting lineup looks like TJ Friedel, Ellie De La Cruz, Matt McClain, Tyler Stevenson, Jake Fraley, Spencer Steer, Jameer Candelario, Gavin Lux, Austin Hayes. Their starting pitching looks like Hunter Green, Brady Singer, Andrew Abbott, Nick Martinez, Nick Lodolo. I'll go first. This team, to me, you know, they got a lot of young talent, and 2 years ago, this team looked like they were going to be really good. And then coming into this year, a lot of those young players kind of lost that heat that they got, and they kind of had somewhat of a down year. I don't think it says how many games they won here. Oh, yeah, they won 77 games. So not a great record, not a good record. This team, they didn't take the step up I thought they should have taken last year. I could see a lot of these players taking that step up this year, but I don't think that they relying on a 23-year-old Ellie De La Cruz to be your best player. I just don't see it. Him or Matt McClain. I don't see them stepping into those generational talent things that they're like, yeah, Ellie De La Cruz is really fast, but he can't hit the ball all that great. I mean, the guy was batting in the 100s at one point last year. I don't think he's going to be all that great besides just being an athlete out there. I don't have a ton else to say to this. I think they're pretty similar to the Pirates. They do have a great pitching staff, which kind of helps them in my opinion, but they're a very similar team to the Pirates to me.
I'll go next, Roy. Yeah, I mean, Ellie De La Cruz, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a phenomenal athlete. He is only 23 years old. I mean, most people are not usually at the big leagues yet at 23 years old. I really like this lineup. They platoon a lot of players, so like they have a couple righties that hit lefties well, and they have a lot of lefties that hit righties well. So they platoon them. It's not always the same lineup. I like the addition of Gavin Lux. Yeah, like Bryce said, they need to take the next step. This was the favorite last year. You guys both had him at first. I actually had him in 4th. I thought that they were really young last year, and they all played last year. Don't get me wrong, they all didn't have a great year, but they all got experience. You get another year of playing full Major League Baseball. You don't have to worry about going down to the minors. It helps. The pitching staff is good. I like the addition of Brady Singer. They have a lot of young guys, and I thought they improved the bullpen, adding Taylor Rogers. Do I think this is the best team in the NL Central? No, but I definitely think they're better than they were last year, given that they added a few players and then everybody else is just getting older and hopefully better. But on the flip side, I don't think they have a lot of depth. So, one or two injuries away from, kind of being in the back seat. I think this team is definitely better than the Pirates just from the fact that I think they can hit, or they have the ability to hit. Let me rephrase that. And I don't think the Pirates have that much of a lineup. I like the Pirates pitching staff better, but I think this is, second, third, fourth in a division that probably isn't as good as previous years. I think the Reds could make some noise, but they're going to need a lot to go right.
I think this team is okay. I like Hunter Green as a pitching staff and Brady Singer. I think that's a good nucleus there. They got some young, just like the Pirates, they got young talent that could be pretty good. I think them and the Pittsburgh will be right with each other. So I don't see much difference between the two. I think they both got talent. They're both good. I just think the Reds may have a little extra veteran presence with Jose Trevino and people like that, Gavin Lux. But I think you're going to see. I think they're in a weak division. They're going to be one of the better teams.
Yeah. Take it to the third place team, the St. Louis Cardinals. Last year, they go 83-79. They don't have any key additions. They really have not made any moves. Key losses, they really don't have that many. I would say Paul Goldschmidt is a loss, even though, at this age, you don't know what you're going to get from him. Lance, who went to the Yankees, Lance Lynn, free agent, and then Kyle Gibson, free agent. Their lineup looks like Mason Wynn at short, Alec Burleson at DH, Wilson Contreras moves to full-time first base with the departure of Goldschmidt, Brendan Donovan at second. At the moment, Nolan Arenado is still slotted there. Even if he starts the year, he will not in there.
He has not shown up to camp. Is still not even going to show up.
I just think the teams are waiting to see where Bregman goes, because I'll use the Red Sox. If the Red Sox don't get Bregman an example, they're going to be in on Arenado and make the move. So it's just waiting, and Bregman won't sign because he wants $250 billion at the age of 40. Whatever. But so Nolan Arenado is penciled in. I would say Nolan Gorman probably takes his slot. Nolan Gorman's on the bench in this. I would say Nolan Gorman takes a slot at second or third, whatever. So Nolan Arenado will be a departure as well. Left field, Lars Nootbaar. Right fielder, Jordan Walker. Catcher, Ivan Herrera. Center fielder, Victor Scott. And the bench is kind of whatever. Rotation of Sonny Gray, Eric Fetty, Miles Michaelis, Andre Palante, and Steven Matz. And a bullpen of Matthew Libator, Jojo Romero, John King, and then the closer, which is really only big name, Ryan Helsley. Also probably on his way out at the deadline, if I had to guess, but you never know, injuries or anything. Anybody want to go first? I'll go first.
I'll go first. I don't care.
Go ahead, Roy.
This team, as usual, they have nobody with no pop. That's what the Cardinals have lacked for quite a while. They got some young guys that aren't bad. They just don't. Their pitching staff I do not like. When your ace is Sonny Gray, I just don't understand. He's a third. He's a third starter is what he is. He's a guy, or third, fourth starter, to where you can just put him out for innings. Their lineup and their starting pitching just not very good. Lineup is more of just guys who can hit the ball, but not with power. I do like Nate Burleson. Alex Burleson. I think he's a and then Brendan Donovan. I like those two guys. I just don't think you're just going to get consistency. Injury always hits one of them or both of them. The bullpen, Ryan Helsley, obviously I think I like him. I like Libator, Tor, and Zach Thompson. I think those are good young arms. The problem is you got them in the bullpen, and I think I think you're wasting them. If your starting pitching is gonna be that bad, you might want to try some young guys in the starting pitching. So
yeah,
I just think the Cardinals haven't done anything to help themselves. That's the problem, and Cardinal fans should be pretty pissed. An organization that's known for being pretty good, they ain't done shit this year.
Yeah,
that is a big thing. Roy hit is that they haven't done anything to add to this team. I don't think they have the greatest lineup in the world, but I think you could get by with the lineup that they have with some of their players. I think Mason Wynn's really good. I think Alec Burleson's probably the best player on this team. And Wilson Contreras can still hit. Donovan can still hit. Nootbaar can still hit. Jordan Walker's one of the worst players I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't know how he's still on a MLB team. He is the worst player I've ever seen. I cannot stand that guy.
You might not be standing, but I don't think he's the worst.
That's crazy.
I hate that guy. I mean, I could catch an outfield fly ball better than that guy could. I've seen him just run and just fall and then just lose it. That's all he does. Anyway, moving on. It's insane that they haven't made a move at all, and especially towards the starting pitching, because they have Sonny Gray, and then after that, I don't like any of it. I do think they have a decent bullpen. I don't think Helsley's as good as some other people do as the closer, just because the Cubs lit him up, and that's all I've really seen of him. But I mean, yeah, them not adding any pieces to their starting pitching or even just one bat is just blows my mind for this team. They're always a competitive team, and I don't think they're going to be because of that.
Yeah, no, they came out and said, you know, they were not. They're not going to not be competitive, but they're doing a reset. And you know what? And it's very rare for this organization to say this, especially being in St. Louis. But I will give them a hats off in one regard. You know, I look at a team like, I don't know, the San Francisco Giants. Maybe not now because they actually landed a couple stars this year in Adames and, you know, some other guys. But when I look at this roster, and I think we can all agree, unless they're hot, that is not a World Series contender. They are just not going to compete with the teams out west in the NL, a couple teams in the AL. And to hit a reset and to let some of these young guys like Walker win, even though Wynn really cemented himself last year. Even Donovan is 28. That's still, you know, fairly young in baseball. Herrera, Scott. At least they're going to let these kids go out and play and just see what they have. I mean, Jordan Walker was the number one prospect in baseball, and he's been horrendous. Let's be real. He's 22 years old. I mean, if he was in a really good organization and he was blocked, he would still be in AAA. So it's because they've had a hole. They've let him play. I give credit letting them, you know, they're going to give him a full year to play and just see what they got in all these players. I think the starting rotation is awful. Miles Michaelis, to me, is one of the worst starting pitchers I've ever seen.
And I got to see him get thrown out of a game one time. That was sick.
Sonny Gray is a good pitcher, 35 years old, just doesn't want to get traded again. I mean, he's cool with whatever. He already has his money. Helsley's going to get moved at the deadline. Let's be real, for a bunch of prospects. I mean, he could probably get a pretty good haul from a contending team. You know, I'll use an example. Let's say, I don't know, Padres are coming down the stretch and they need a closer. I mean, you can get a pretty good return for a closer. You look at what Tanner Scott got last year for 2 months of baseball. Good return. But yeah, I mean, they need a reset, and I give hats off to the team for resetting and just playing. But it's going to be weird watching this team not be like really competitive. So, and they didn't hand out any money. So, you know, they made no moves, but that's why, you know, they're not handing out money. They're going to save it. This team's not been afraid to spend money on players they need, but yeah. And they need to get this Arenado contract off the books. Even if they move him, they will still be paying him in some way for a little bit. So, you know, just a reset, but yeah, they're not going to be great. And then go ahead, Bryce, Cubs.
The second place team in the division, the 83-79 Chicago Cubs. Their key additions are starting pitcher Matthew Boyd, infielder John Birdie, relief pitcher Ryan Brazier, relief pitcher Ryan Presley, relief pitcher Eli Morgan, right fielder Kyle Tucker, the big one, starting pitcher Cody Poteet. Key losses, outfield Mike Tauchman, RIP, third base Miles Mastrobuoni, outfield Cody Bellinger, third base Isaac Paredes, infielder Cam Smith, starting pitcher Hayden Wesneski.
Oh, yeah.
And then their starting lineup looks like Ian Happ, Kyle Tucker, Seiya Suzuki, Michael Busch, Dansby Swanson, Nico Horner, Pete Crow Armstrong, Matt Shaw, Miguel Amaya. And then the starting pitching looks like Shota Imanaga, Justin Steele, Jameson Tyone, Matthew Boyd, Javier Assad, and Colin Ray. They have some decent bullpen arms, adding Ryan Presley. Porter Hodge looked good last year. Tyson Miller, and finally getting back Julian Merriweather after like almost 2 years of injury. The Cubs, to me, obviously my favorite team. We got rid of a lot last year of players I loved, but we added so many players that you can't even really think about the past like that. There's a lot of talk about the Bregman. I think that shakes up the lineup a lot. If we do get him, I think Nico's probably not staying around. If we get Bregman, I personally would rather than push for Dylan Cease at this point than Alex Bregman and keep the lineup how it is. I think that this is our best year we've had since probably 2016. I mean, the addition of Kyle Tucker, hopefully we can re-sign him at the end of the year if he has a good year. I really don't want them to fall flat again like they did last year. I thought it was kind of their division to lose. And then the Brewers did what they did and took them over. We added a lot to the bullpen. That was our biggest problem all throughout last year. And I think that we have a good team this year. I'm not going to say much more else because it is my favorite team. So
I'll go next. Yeah, I mean, I really like the additions the Cubs made. If last year when they signed Counsell for the record deal to get him from the Brewers, it felt like, all right, it's go time, and then they did nothing. It felt like really, other than maybe re-sign Bellinger. This year feels more like they're putting their foot forward, which I think they should. It's a winnable division, even though the Brewers are the Brewers. It's still a winnable division, and all you have to do is get in, and you never know. And if you can get in, you should try. I really like the additions to the bullpen. Don't get me wrong, Ryan Presley's 36 years old. That makes me nervous. He wasn't great for Houston last year. He was good. If you get regular Ryan Presley, it's a plus, but he's 36. How much does he still have? We'll wait to be seen. Still going to be a good reliever probably. Peter Hodge looked good, like you said. I like Ryan Brazier, 37 years old. And again, you're taking a few risks here, but I still like the risk. It's worth the reward. I like the rotation for the Cubs. I look at Imanagi, he's 31, which is not concerning. He was excellent last year. Do you see a little regression, maybe come back down to earth a little bit? Probably, but if he doesn't and he's even better or just as good, I mean, that's an ace. Steele, couple health issues. You hope he's good. Tyone, you know what you're going to get from Tyone. 30 starts, 3.9 ERA. He's just going to give it to you. Matthew Boyd is kind of like a wild card. I'm cool with that. And then the Ass Man.
The Ass Man.
And then trading for Kyle Tucker, let's be real, it was a great move. I mean, for Cubs fans, I pray you guys can keep him, or else, that's going to hurt a lot. You did give up quite a bit to get him, but that's what you have to do when you get a player like that. You have to give up a lot.
We kind of just turned Morel into him, because everything that we traded for Morel is what we traded for him.
So, the one thing that this team scares me about, and it doesn't scare me, I shouldn't say that. That's not the right word. But that, I look at, I get nervous. I still don't see a whole lot of power. Kyle Tucker's got power. Michael Busch has good power. I wouldn't say great power. And when Suzuki gets it, he's got power. But man, that bottom of the lineup is still just very contact oriented, that's how they want to play. So I'm not knocking them. But Swanson just doesn't hit 30 homers. Horner doesn't hit 10. Pete Crow Armstrong probably doesn't hit 20.
He'll have 30 bunts, though.
That's true. I don't know what Matt Shaw is going to give you. I don't know his power profile. And Miguel Amaya is not going to give you a whole lot. The power just, the Cubs have always gotten on base. They never get those big drives to drive them all in, usually. I mean, not always. Kyle Tucker adds a big thump in the lineup. They have him slot in at second. I personally would have him in the 3, or maybe not the 4, probably like the 3 hole. Just try to get another guy on base if he gets one. But that's my only gripe. I mean, to me, this is the team, clear best team in the division on paper, but the Brewers don't always play what they have on paper. So.
No, I mean, this is the team in my weak division. This is the best. I mean, the best team in the division, and it deserves to lose, I think. Yeah. Kyle Tucker's a huge get. I'm a huge Kyle Tucker fan. I think he's a good ball player. I really want the Yankees to get him. I think he's a good. He'll help. It's like you said, there's not much pop in that lineup, so that's what gets you. You contact hitters. I mean, because I think you'll be all right in the summers, but getting to playoff time, you still need that big hit, and that's what I worry about. I'm not as big on the starting rotation. I mean, Shohei and Steele, I think, are pretty good. The other one, huh? What?
When they did Shohei,
whatever. What is that? I think but Teon, come on. I mean, he is not going to get you a complete game or anything. He's freaking 33 years old, going to be, and he's doesn't. I'm not a big fan of him. I think that's what the end of the back in your Matthew Boyd. I mean, you needed some starting pitching. He gives it to you. But what helps you though, because those guys aren't going to give you 7-8 innings. You have a better bullpen. That's what helps. Because last year those guys would give you 5 innings, and then your bullpen would fuck it up. So at least you have a bullpen now. Presley if he can get him and Brazier could do what they did a little bit last year, especially when Brazier did win the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I think you'll be all right. So that's going to help you. Even though your starting pitching is not as good as I thought it or should be. I mean, if you got Dylan Cease or something, then you're talking. Yeah. It's a different story. But that is bringing in some bullpen to help with these guys who don't throw more than 5 or 6 innings. That's going to help out a lot.
And then let's take it to the first place Brewers last year. 93-69 record is no joke. That's a good record. Weak division or not. Key adds, it's really just the Devin Williams trade. I looked. Nestor Cortez starter and infielder Caleb Durbin. Key losses, they lose Willy Adames to San Fran, Frankie Montas to the Mets, and then they trade closer Devin Williams to the Yankees. Lineup, right fielder Jackson Churio at 20 years old. DH is Christian Yelich. Catcher William Contreras. Center fielder Garrett Mitchell. First base Rhys Hoskins. Left field Sal Frelick. Second base Bryce Turang. Shortstop Joey Ortiz. And then third base Oliver Dunn. With a pretty weak bench on paper. Starting rotation, I would like to note Brandon Woodruff is injured. He's on the IL. I'm almost certain he's healthy. He had shoulder surgery in November of October of 23. I would have to assume he's probably healthy by now. So I'm going to include him. Brandon Woodruff, Freddie Peralta, Tobias Myers, Nestor Cortez Jr., Aaron Savali, and DL Hall, who they got in a Baltimore trade last year. And then a bullpen of Trevor McGill as their closer, Jared Koenig, Joel Pampas, I don't know how to pronounce that, Brian Hudson from Alton, Illinois, fun fact, Nick Mears, Aaron Ashby, Elvis Peguero, and Connor Thomas. I'll go first on the Brewers for this one. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Last year, I did not think they were going to be very good. Especially after losing their coach, I thought that would take a hit. I mean, I'm not saying they ran away, but they really never were in contention of not being in first. They had it pretty early and just continued to win. They play like the ultimate version of small ball. I mean, just hits, stolen bases, hits, gets in a run. They pitch well with players that you just don't know a lot about. Like I read the bullpen, but a lot of those guys were there last year and pitched really well. I'm starting to feel like this is maybe maybe not as good, but a National League version of the Tampa Bay Rays. Just a lot of guys you don't know. They continuously rotate players, and they get better. But the problem with the Brewers, I mean, I think Jackson Churio might be the next superstar. He's that good. Christian Yelich has been good when he's healthy, and William Contreras has turned into top 3 catcher in baseball at this point with the bat. Maybe not catching, but still a really good player now. Rhys Hoskins is going to hit his home runs. They're young and they're athletic. But losing Willy Adames, losing Devin Williams. I mean, Devin Williams is disgusting. I mean, that's almost a lock. I mean, I say that, and then he blows their season. Let's be real. Against the Mets. Had the series won and gave up a home run to, what's his face?
Frankie.
No, not Frankie. Pete.
Alonso?
Pete. Yeah.
The polar bear.
I think this is a good team, especially now, someone like Bryce Turang, you saw last year that he can be a good player. Garrett Mitchell, if you can say healthy, is good. I love their top 3. I think this is a good team. I'm sure Nestor will do fine in Milwaukee with nobody talking about him. Do I think this team is better than the Cubs on paper? No. But if the Cubs don't play well and this team just does what they do, could they beat the Cubs in the standings? I think they could. But I do like the Cubs team better on paper.
I'll go. Josh did say I do like a lot of their lineup. They have some really good bats with Jackson Churio, Christian Yelich, William Contreras, Sal Frelick can be good, Bryce Turang can be good. Like all of them are decent bats. The biggest problem with this team to me is they have traded away some generational pitching. I mean, could you imagine this team with Corbin Burns, Josh Hader, and Devin Williams all still? That team, I would say, is likely to win the division on paper. This team, what scares me is the pitching. I mean, they are getting Brandon Woodruff back. I don't know if he'll be the guy he used to be. He used to probably be an ace on most teams, but he wasn't on this team because they had generational pitching at the time. I just see that their pitching could be a real issue. I don't think that they're going to be able to shut teams down to 2-3 run ball games like they were in the past, and then getting by with a Yelich home run or a Contreras home run and Jackson Chourio with 3 singles. I think that they're going to have some people step up with pitching to be a competitive team this year.
Yeah, I think. I mean, they got some young players that I think are. I mean, yeah, they're good. They got really good, some talented players. Now, and they've tried to mix it in with some veterans. I think Yelich and Hoskins are. I think they're getting. Yelich. I mean, I know he was good last year, but he got hurt a lot, and I just think he's almost about in his prime. He's going to have his moments where he's good. I think this team took a step back with their losses. I like Freddie Peralta. I think he's a decent pitcher. I mean, but you got Nestor Cortez as your number 3. I think, and he's a shit. I can't stand him. I know Josh liked him, but I can't fucking stand him.
I did like Nestor.
Their bullpen is. I think with losing Devin Williams is going to hurt. I think it's just going to be. This team took a step back this year. I think they didn't do anything to kind of improve them, to make them where they were last year. Last year they came out. I think this team is not as good as they were last year. I mean, I was down on them last year too, but I think they're not going to be as good as this year. I think their young players have got. I think you're just going to need too much out of their young players, and Churro at 20. I mean, there's just too much for some of these young kids. I think because you got going to have to take a lot of these young kids, and I think their pitching is just not going to be able to live up to it.
All right, that's the NL Central. That's the NL East. Let's do our predictions. All right, I'm going to start with Roy this week. I already have my predictions into the computer, so don't think that I'm just listening. Roy, give me your 5th through 1st and go slow so I can do it.
All right, the 5th place team I have is the Cardinals.
Okay.
My 4th place team I have are the Pirates. Then I have the Brewers. And then I have the Reds and then the Cubs.
Okay. Bryce, you want to go? You want me to go?
I'll go.
Okay.
I hate what Roy said because I have the exact same thing as Roy, actually. I thought that the Brewers dropping was kind of going to be my shocking one and the Reds passing them, but
so you got Cardinals, Pirates, Brewers, Reds, Cubs.
I do have that, and I think that the Cardinals will have about 10,000 average fans at the end of the season showing up to the games because
I'm not
they're fake-ass fans.
I would totally be cool with that because that's going to make the tickets even cheaper to go to that all-inclusive.
Yes,
I'm not going to lie.
Especially when the Yankees come down.
Mine does look pretty different. I have one of the same of you guys.
Cardinals in last.
I do not have the Cardinals last. I do have the Pirates in last. I do not like their lineup. I don't. I think their lineup sucks. I have the Cardinals in 4th, so we just have it flipped. I have the Reds in 3rd. Again, I just get scared about that lineup and those young players. I actually think they're close on paper with the Brewers, but after the Brewers had their season and how good they played, I just can't do it. So I have the Brewers in 2nd. We all are in agreement. I do have the Cubs in 1st. So we just have 2nd and 3rd flipped and then 4th and 5th flipped.
I actually like the Pirates roster better than the Brewers. I think the Brewers took that big step back.
I like the Pirates roster.
I just can't put them above them yet.
So that's our biggest difference so far from last division and this one. Our biggest difference so far have been the Pirates, how we view.
Yeah.
Because you guys seem to be, I'm not saying high, but higher. Other than their pitching, I'm low on the Pirates. I think they're bad.
See, I think I'm high on the Pirates. It was hard for me. I was going to put them 3rd.
I almost did as well.
And I really want to because I think their pitching is better and they got some better hitting than the Brewers. Well, but because of the Brewers the way they I was hard for me.
Do you guys have the Pirates making the playoffs?
No, I only have the Cubs making the playoffs.
Yeah, possible. Weak divisions are hard because, but I'll use for you guys an example. The Reds, they're going to play the Brewers, and your guys, the Brewers are a third place team. They're going to play the Brewers, Pirates, and the Cardinals a little bit more than anybody else. So I never know what to do about weak divisions on who was going to make the playoffs. Because I look at the AL Central last year. You would have told me 3 teams were making the playoffs out of that division. I would have told you you're crazy. Because the Guardians, the Royals, and the Tigers all made it. So it's hard to do these weak divisions. I would consider this a weaker division in baseball. But all right, I think that's all we got.
I actually want to do my game before we go on, since my game has to do with baseball and the lineups. I was talking to Josh about it earlier. Shout out to Zach Walkie for giving me the idea. He wants us to do this.
Yeah, great.
We're going to build our lineup with the NL Central. So you get one starting pitcher, one closer, first base, so on and so forth, from anybody in the division, only the division. So
do we each have to make one, or we all collectively?
I think we're all going to collectively do it, but it doesn't mean we're going to have the same answer.
Okay.
All right. So we'll start off with a starting pitcher. I think this is pretty easy who we should take. I'll say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Paul Skeens.
I don't even think it's close.
Yeah.
I don't either.
No, that's the easy one.
Then we'll do a closer. I think I did have who I thought it was.
I think it should be Ryan Helsley.
I also think it should be Ryan Helsley.
I'm going to agree with that. I don't like it, but I'm going to agree with it.
Well, it's hard. I know you said that Ryan Helsley looks bad against the Cubs. It's because the Cubs see him often.
I know.
Once you don't see, you see a player enough, especially a reliever who only has 2 or 3 pitches. That's what you don't want your relievers to get exposed like that usually. So
yeah. So next, I will move on to catcher.
Contreras.
Contreras.
I agree. Contreras.
3 for 3, boys.
Yes, we are. And then we'll go to first base. This one we might have some differing opinions.
I mean, I'm not really big on any of them.
Yeah, I'm really not either.
First and third, I really don't like that much, actually.
Jeez, I don't know. I don't like the Cardinals.
I'll give you who my answer is if you guys want.
Go ahead.
I'd say Michael Bush.
I'm taking Alec Burleson at first.
See,
if he's playing first, is he playing first?
I thought about that.
They have
too.
Wilson Contreras at first right now, but you have to think Alec Burleson will play some first.
If he's playing first, if he's up first, I would say him. Yes,
yeah, I would too. I actually, between 3 people, I would have Burleson, Bush, or Contreras. I think those 3, but I would definitely have Contreras third of those 3.
Yeah.
But so yeah, if you're putting Burleson, I would say Burleson.
I agree.
Okay.
Then we're gonna go to second base.
Turang.
I mean, you know who my answer is. I don't think Bryce Turang is better than Nico
I think
Horner.
we'll all have different ones on this one.
Are you gonna take Matt McLain?
I'm gonna say Matt McLain.
Okay, that's fair. But I'm still taking Nico Horner. I think he's a top 8 second baseman in the league. And defensively, he is the best one.
Oh, 100%.
So I'm going to take Nico Horner.
Brendan Donovan definitely deserves conversation, though.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a good player, but he plays so much more than second. He's not a second baseman, but yeah.
Then we're going to move to shortstop.
I go to L.A.
David Kiner Falafel. Just kidding. Had to say it.
Who did you say, Roy?
Cruz.
He's a center
He's
fielder.
a center fielder now, right?
L.A. Day to Cruz. La Cruz.
Oh, Ellie.
Yeah, I'm also taking Ellie.
I am going to preface this. I actually have Ellie at my third base because he does play a lot of third base as well. Because I think this is a pretty weak third base division.
I mean, Jeimer's definitely playing third if all of them are healthy. But I don't think
Jeimer goes to first.
I think the Reds' first baseman last year, Steer and Strand, were both hurt, so Candelario went to first.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why Ellie played third. I mean, either one.
I'm taking Dansby at my shortstop still.
Probably the best. Yeah, definitely the best defensive shortstop. Who's the Brewers short? Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm taking Ellie, but it's
I'm taking Ellie.
And then third base, I'm taking Ellie at my third.
That's fine.
Candelario,
Candelario,
whatever. I think I would probably take him.
Ooh, yeah, this third base sucks.
Yeah. I looked at third base for a while.
If Arenado was probably there defensively, probably, but I don't think
he just was so bad last year. I can't.
Hitting, I mean, he was still defensively.
I really would take Candelario probably if you're going just off third base position.
Yeah.
Brian Hayes, if he could hit a baseball, I'd put him, but he can't.
Yeah.
So yeah, weak third base.
Yeah, and then we're gonna go to outfield. I don't have specifics. I just have 3 outfielders.
Okay.
Well, Kyle Tucker.
I say we're all in agreement
easily.
There.
Yeah.
I would also, for me,
I'll just say Jordan Walker just to piss off Bryce.
I don't think it's a question that Jackson Chourio deserves to be out there.
Yeah, Jackson. Yeah.
Tucker and Chourio for me, for sure.
I mean, I'm a Brian Reynolds fan, but
yeah, so am I. Overall, he's better than Cruz. Cruz is streakier, but
I actually don't have Jackson Chourio in my outfield. I do have Kyle Tucker, though. I agree with that one.
Who's your other 2?
I have Christian Yelich in my outfield.
Yeah, no.
He's the DH.
And I have Ian Happ in my outfield as well.
Oh.
No, don't like either one of
me. I don't have. There's no way that I can't have Jackson Chourio. I would probably go Chourio, Tucker, and Reynolds.
I mean, that's probably who I would go with.
Yeah.
I'm pretty shocked you guys have Reynolds.
Well, a good player.
I like Reynolds.
Over Yelich?
Oh, yeah.
He's more consistent. Don't get me wrong. If Yelich is on, I'd have to pull up their stats and compare them, but Yelich misses so much time now.
All right, then we just have DH.
So you have to basically name a player we haven't named.
Yeah, I mean, I put somebody who is playing DH this year, but you can.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Who'd you have?
I have Shohei because I think he's a great DH player. When he's playing in the outfield, he's a horrible player all around. But when he just DHs, he's pretty fucking good.
I mean, Yelich.
Yeah, technically Yelich is listed at DH.
Yeah, I would take Yelich.
I mean, I would take him as a DH if we're going straight
Yelich,
DH.
I would probably look at Ian Happ at that point then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have Yelich over Happ. All right.
You got a game or anything? I don't have anything, so.
No, I think we can skip college basketball this week because we talked Super Bowl and baseball. We're pushing it a little bit. And I don't have a game, no.
That's it?
I think that's it.
That's it.
All
right. Hit the like button, subscribe, comment. Next week, we will do the NL West. The Big Bad Dodgers will be there. The NL West, other than the Dodgers, have really shaken up a little bit. You look at the Giants, they kind of changed it up. You look at the Diamondbacks, they had, Burns. So next week should be interesting. I'm curious to see where we rank some of those teams that had some shakeup. Padres, a lot of shakeup.
I mean, Dodgers, maybe they'll sign another person by then.
Probably.
They'll probably get Arenado and Dylan Cease and Alex Bregman and every other free agent on the market.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Hit the like button. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.